What's up, people? I am back. Sorry I didn't do the video yesterday. Something came up. But I am happy to do it today. This is a film I've been wanting to review for a while. This is John Carpenter's, in my opinion, second best film. A lot of people would argue his best. But this is, to me, like, what is the definition after, I would say after Alien, of isolation horror. John Carpenter's The Thing, which, it's funny because in the original Halloween, they play, granted, 2 seconds. The original The Thing was called The Thing from Another World, and they played that in Halloween, and for it all to just him to just end up directing The Thing, and just my opinion, a lot of people's opinion too, probably one of the, because this film is technically a remake, probably the best remake ever made. And this film, like, the cast was perfect. I mean, obviously Kurt Russell as Mac, but all the characters, I feel like everybody served a purpose. And then the blood scene, which I will talk about later, is like the definition of you want to, like, that scene should be like taught in schools on how to build tension, because that whole scene, them testing the blood, is the definition of tension, and that to me should be like, this is how you do tension, and this is how you do horror. Just the creature design, very, just it's fucked up, and like the moments you see the creature transform, it's just fucking oof. Even as someone who's a gorehound, it's just, man. And like that's why I really like the design. Stan Winston, man, who I think more people need to talk about him. He's like the a lot of those special effects and all that stuff is from him. The practical effects. He's the guy who did Jurassic Park, Terminator. I think he did Batman, one of the Batman films. Then did this film. Like, he's the creature designer for that. Like, it's, and this film, the fact that like everything was practical is just is like the icing on the cake. It's just how, like, because the design. Then we had the remake that came out in 2011, which I will review at some point. I didn't hate that film. I think it's a decent film. It's just the CGI really ruins it, because it ruins it for a lot of people. And I don't blame them, because that's what built this film on, was the practical effects. But the studio said no, and that's why I kind of give it a pass almost, because the director wanted to, but they didn't let him. They said no, we got to use CGI because it's 2011 now, so you got to use CGI, and it's. But I still think it's a decent film. But this film, the cast, the atmosphere, the snow, is just awesome. Like, that's what makes this film a great film, and that I'm happy to see that there's more people finding this movie, because this movie is one of Carpenter's best. The score is just very simple, and yeah. So this film. So I guess we'll get started. If you're hearing that as a fan, it is hot as fuck. Sorry, guys. But we see a ship kind of flying in, but then we have a time jump, and we are in Antarctica. We see a Norwegian helicopter pursue a simple sled dog, and that's like the other thing about this intro. Like, you don't know what's fucking happening. You don't know. All you seeing is these Norwegian guys trying to kill a dog. And it's like, what the fuck? What? That's probably would have. I wonder what the reaction to this opening would have been opening night, because this was 1982, just to see, like, because you don't know what's happening. You don't know, like, now we know the dog is obviously the creature, but we didn't know. People didn't know going in. You just see this Norwegian guy trying to shoot a dog. Like, what the fuck? But that's what I love about this opening. So, and then we were introduced to McCready and his team. Um, but then the helicopter lands, and they try to throw a grenade at the dog, but the guy drops it and ends up blowing himself up. Norwegian guy ends up shoots Bennings because he was trying to shoot the dog, and apparently I think it's that they translated it to uh, that's not a dog. Like the Norwegian guy's trying to tell them no, that's not a fucking dog, but it's all in Norwegian, so they don't know. So he ends up shooting Bennings, who's one of the team, and but Gary ends up shooting the Norwegian guy dead. Um, so not Bennings, and he have a little bit of a funny scene where Bennings, who the guy got his knee shot, is just drinking a beer with his leg shot, and then Dr. Copper, who's one of the doctors on the team, basically gives kind of a quick surgery to like heals Bennings' wound, and they were talking about like maybe they were going stir crazy in cabin fever, which is what I love because obviously we know how the film ends up becoming. So like they're just talking about, oh man, these guys go stir crazy, and then bam, they end up going crazy. So Dr. Copper goes with Mac. They go to the Norwegian. They go to the Norwegian base. This where everything happened, which is where the 2011 film happened, basically. And then they find. I just love like the atmosphere because it's just them finding like the axe on the wall, a guy cutting himself, and then he's just covered in ice. And then they find this ice thing where the creature escaped, and then they find a burned body, a deformed humanoid. But they end up taking back with them, which obviously is not really smart. And then and I love like the shots of the dog. Like every time like they come back, you get like these really close shots of the dog because they're kind of telling you subtly like this is a normal dog. There's something up with this dog, and so they land. Dr. Copper and Blair kind of check the innards of this creature, this seemingly that was a human, and then the group that night it kind of has like a little party. You know, Giles and Fuchs I think smoke a joint while everyone else like is drinking and relaxing. The one dog is loose, so Clark, who's the dog keeper, takes the dog to the kennel with the other dogs, and this is where the reveal, in my opinion, the perfect reveal that no, this isn't a fucking dog. When its face like opens up, tentacles grow out like fucking spider legs, and then Clark hears the dogs freaking out. So when he gets to the kennel, all the dogs run out while some of them are being absorbed by the creature. And then Mac hears the thing and raises the alarms. They go while Giles has to go get the fucking flamethrower. And dude, Giles is played by Keith David, he's a phenomenal actor. He's mostly a voice actor, like you know him as he was Goliath in Gargoyles and Spawn in the animated series. So he has a phenomenal voice. But yeah, I thought he was awesome in this movie too. So he gets the flamethrower while we see more of this dog's transformation. And the part where it just starts growing hands, that's where I was like, okay, oof, man. But the effects were fucking great. So Giles shows up with the flamethrower. The creature tries to attack him. He sets it on fire, but then they put it out. And seemingly they killed it. Blair gives an autopsy to the creature and kind of this is where we get a little bit of the explanation of that it can absorb whatever it's killing and become it, like basically can take form of it. So that's the other thing with a lot of these older films, they explain what the creature or whatever the thing is, and it's very simple, not over the top. It's not this crazy explanation. Very simple explanation. So Blair basically explaining what it can do to the dogs. And then this is where they find they using the Norwegian data where they discover that there is a spaceship that is I think thousands years old or something, 100,000 years old. And then this is where Blair starts getting paranoid. Like he's using the computer, and then there's like this thing that comes out like 75% of the team could be infected, and this is where he like just starts going crazy and paranoid. That's what I love about this film. Like they were talking about how they went stir crazy in Cabin Fever. Bam! That's when it starts growing just slowly. That's what, that's what Carpenter's talent is. He knows how to build tension and build paranoia, especially in this film. I think it's done so. Even the way it's shot, it is phenomenal. I love the cinematography, the atmosphere. I like that pretty much it's only these guys. There's no real other besides like the Norwegians you see in the beginning of the film. There's really no other characters. Um, so Bennings and Windows seeming like basically we're putting the creature on ice, and there's like a scene where they cover it in a blanket, and when they turn around you see it move for like a second, and Windows walks away. um, so it kills Bennings, and you get this cool scene of Windows coming back, and then like you just see Bennings getting fucking assimilated, and then Windows informs Copper, uh, Copper, and Windows informs Copper and McCready, who they end up they see Bennings run, and then you get this really cool shot. You see like his hands about to transform, and then he gives like this roar, and then Max sets him on fire, burns him. And while all this is happening, it's Blair who's actually the creature. I'll just spoil it. Fuck it. And he basically sabotages all the vehicles. He kills the dogs, destroys the radio, because he's so paranoid about like the creature escaping. So so you get this cool scene of like Blair just freaking the fuck out on everybody. But the team is able to subdue him, and then Blair tries to tell him like, look out, watch out for Clark, because he suspects Clark because he's the only one with the dogs, and I kind of get it a little bit. Like this is the dude he's the only guy who was alone with this dog. So, um, then Fuchs, who's one of the doctors, gets killed, and ends up trying to burn himself. And then, oh, I missed out on one scene. Not Gary, Dr. Copper suggests maybe we can test like our blood and all our blood, and they're about to, but then the blood is sabotaged. So, and I love how slowly the distrust is starting to build, and I think that's the other thing about this film. It's very sad in that sense, because you could tell these guys had some kind of maybe not super close, but these were guys who worked together probably for years, and all that. Now all that gets thrown out the fucking window, because now they start like distrusting each other, and basically the men lose faith in Gary and have to make somebody else, and they make Mac the leader. McCready, Windows, and Knowles find Fuchs' burnt body, and then I think after this is where they start thinking Mac's the creature. So I love that. But then Norris passes out after a heart attack. You get this really cool scene of Cooper trying to give him, like, saying clear, and then this third time his chest opens up into a fucking mouth, and it's like, what the fuck? And then it basically, it kills, it bites off Cooper's arms and kills him. And then Mac burns it alive with the flamethrower, but Norris's head detaches, and then you get another cool, just practical scene where it starts growing spider legs, and then Mac burns that alive. And then this is where you get the probably the most famous scene in this entire film, the blood test scene where everybody's testing blood. And they basically use a heated piece of wire to test the blood and to make sure that it's not the creature. And you get this just awesome scene, the tension building. You're wondering, who is it? Who is the creature? Who is the thing? And then everyone seems fine until it gets to Palmer's blood. Then you get the Palmer's blood just fucking freaks out. Palmer starts transforming into the creature, and breaks out of his because everyone is kind of like tied up. It breaks out of his bearings, and then kills Windows. Just very brutal. Like his head turns into fucking teeth, and just kills Windows. Max sets it on fire with a flamethrower, and then throws dynamite at it. And then Mac has to also burn Windows. That's the other sad thing about this film too. These are guys who you're friends, who you're working with. Now you gotta kill them and stuff. It's just sad. It's like, that's the one. It's the same thing with zombie movies a little bit, like that aspect about like, this is somebody who you potentially care about. Now you gotta kill them. It's sad, but so they commence. The rest of the team seems fine. Then Giles is left on guard while they're going to try to test Blair's blood. And then this is where they figure that Blair escaped and that he actually is the creature, because he's been using the helicopter components to fix his ship. Giles is missing, and then the power generator is destroyed. So they have to destroy the whole... He decides we gotta blow up the whole thing. So Blair kills Gary. Another trippy kill where he just puts his whole hand in his face. Just like, God, I love the effects of this film. Just, like, I can't say enough about the effects. Like, that's the one thing, like, the creature effects just work. So they start setting fire to the entire station. But then it's only, Knowles disappears. This is where we get the final form of the creature, which looks fucking amazing. But then Mac seemingly destroys it by using the explosive. Then Mac and meets up with Childs, and then they just basically sit there because they don't know which one is the creature. And then they just share a bottle of scotch while they're building, basically both dying. I love that ending. That ending it's kind of ambiguous, but it's not really, because they both are basically gonna die and freeze to death. But like, they don't trust each other, so like, this is a one way, and just very dark film. And that's the thing about this film too. It doesn't have a happy ending. Like, yeah, they seemingly destroy the creature, but you don't know. Who's to say that before it could have killed somebody else? So I just love this film. I think this is one of Carpenter's second best film. When you watch it, the way it's directed, the acting, all the characters, I think Carpenter really knows how to get actors who just feel like regular people. Even Kurt Russell, and this was post Escape from New York, Kurt Russell, he still felt like a regular guy. Like, literally, all that team, it Because I think really Kurt Russell and maybe like Keith David, if I guess because of the stuff he does later, are like probably the two bigger names of the movie. But really, Kurt Russell's probably the biggest name. But everyone else, I don't think I've seen them in other stuff besides this movie. So I think that's what makes this film great. Is Carpenter knows how to get people who feel like regular people. Same thing happened with Halloween. Same thing with Escape from New York. Even like he knew how to just get people that were just regular people, and then just get larger. I mean, because I think sometimes, especially for a film like this, these just felt like guys who just were regular workers, and then shit hit the fan. So this film's a 10 out of 10. I think this, after Alien, is the best example of isolation horror. And this is how you do it. The creature effects, the practical effects were all great. The music's awesome. So yeah, this is definitely a film that it's gonna always stand the test of time, especially as a horror fan. Like, this is the second best sci-fi horror. Alien's number one, but this would be number two. I like. There's nothing wrong with this film. I can't think of anything like. This is the epitome of a perfect film. Like, honestly, I can't think of anything wrong with it. I don't have any criticisms. All the characters work. The creature worked. And I like that it didn't have a distinguishable design besides like it had tentacles and it looked fucking weird. But that's it. It didn't have like it's not like, for example, like the xenomorphs. You know what a xenomorph is. We know what the predators are. We know what like the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park are. This thing is a fucking just it doesn't have a real design minus like the closest you got was that ending, but it just looked like a tentacle monster. And that's why I love the design and it works. So awesome film, 10 out of 10. I think my next video, it'll probably be Escape from New York. LA, sorry. Escape from LA. I'll probably do that Monday. But yeah, I'm gonna cheers to this film because this film is fucking phenomenal. Here's the John Carpenter who made so many like, this film also shows his versatility. Like, this was like he did like an action sci-fi like Escape from New York a year before. Now he did sci-fi horror, but then he also did obviously the ultimate slasher with Halloween. Like, Carpenter knows how to like not just do the same type of film over and over, and that to me is one of the best signs of being a legendary director, is you can do other genres. So. But other than that, this is a great film. Fuck Warner Brothers and the fact that they're trying to contribute to Gavin Newsom. Fuck them for that. Same thing with you, Disney. You're gonna contribute to the guy who kept kept Disneyland closed for an entire fucking year. Good job. Fuck both y'all. Obviously fuck Joe Biden. Fuck LeBron James. Fuck Simon Liu. Oh, you know what? No. My next video will be I was gonna do Escape from LA. I'll do that on Tuesday. I'm gonna do a rant video on this piece of shit. The fact that he's really trying to act like he's the first Asian superhero, the first Asian guy in a movie. Are you kidding me? Motherfucker, are you kidding me? Nah, bro. That'll be my next video. Monday, I'm gonna rant on this motherfucker. So fuck him. And yeah, talk to y'all next time. I really recommend go watch this movie. I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.